Before I was born, before I took my first breath, before I ever saw my mother's face, war had already taken my father. I never got to meet him. I only inherited his story. But sometimes a story is powerful enough to raise you. It was the summer of 1985 in Longvec, Cambodia. The air was heavy with fear. Gunfire tore through the village. People screamed and ran. And somewhere inside that chaos, less than a month before I was born, my father was taken from us. My mother told me that time never left her. Even years later, she could still hear it, still feel it, still see the life she loved being swallowed by war. Everything I know about my father came to me in pieces. From my mother's voice, from family photographs, from the grief that still lived in people's faces when they spoke his name. He was slim and handsome, with an oval face, dark skin, and short, wavy black hair. But what stayed with people was not just how he looked. It was how he loved, how he gave, how deeply he was missed. My parents met through their families. In Cambodia at that time, arranged marriages were common. Both sides already knew each other through the timber business. My father was 23. My mother was 16. But beneath tradition, something real sparked between them. He noticed her, and she noticed him too. My grandfather believed he was a kind man, a man who could provide, a man who would take care of his daughter. And by all accounts, he did. Their wedding was simple, traditional, and full of blessings. People brought food, fruit, good wishes, small offerings for a future that still felt possible. For a little while, my parents were allowed happiness. After they married, they built a small store together. Not just a business, a life. A beginning, a place where love and labor stood side by side. Most of their customers were Vietnamese soldiers from the nearby military camp. They worked long hours, but my mother told me she never minded, because at the end of the day, my father would massage her tired feet and make her laugh. When she spoke of those moments, I could feel it. She did not miss only a husband. She missed her companion, her joy, her safe place. Then war came closer, not as a rumor, not as distant noise, but as men arriving in the village to take what they needed. Just after my older sister Maya was born, soldiers came to conscript the able-bodied man. He has a wife and a child. Please, you cannot take him from his family. My grandparents begged. They offered money. They offered everything they had. But war does not negotiate with love. My father was educated. He spoke both Cambodian and French. After years of genocide and devastation, that made him valuable. And in a time like that, being valuable could become a curse. Even in the army, my father remained who he was, generous to the point of sacrifice. Where is your shirt? I gave it to someone who needed it more than me. And what if someone asks for your pants? If they needed them, I'd give those away too. That was the kind of man he was. Even in hardship, he chose compassion. Even surrounded by fear, he kept something human alive inside himself. His kindness, leadership, and education made him stand out. Soon, he was promoted to commander. It was an honor, but it also placed him in even greater danger. When I think about this now, I try not to focus only on what that promotion cost him. I think about what it said about him, that in a broken world, people trusted him, followed him, believed in him. During his final visit home, my mother told him she was carrying another child, me. She hoped the news would lift his spirit. But something in him had changed. He had seen too much, carried too much. And my mother believed even then that part of him knew he would never return. When the baby comes, name her Monica. He chose my name himself. Promise me something. Raise our daughters differently. Don't force their future. Don't choose their lives for them. I want my daughters to be free. This is what I am fighting for. That was his final wish. Not power, not glory. Freedom for his daughters. Back in the jungle, hungry and exhausted, my father caught a snake to cook. A small light glowed in the dark. A fellow soldier said he heard a whistling sound. And less than a second later, a bullet tore through my father's chest. There was no medic, no rescue, only a dying man and another man trying not to let him die alone. Please, find my wife. Tell her I love her. Tell my daughter. Tell my unborn child. And then, just like that, his life was gone. Your husband was a kind man and a great leader. The soldier risked his own life to find my family and deliver my father's final message. For that, We have always been indebted to him. War steals so many people without explanation. But my family was given one final gift in the middle of all that cruelty. We knew his last thoughts were of us. I was born on August 20th, 1985, in Longvek, Cambodia. In the middle of the night, my mother used to say the moon was so bright that night, it was almost like daylight. But beneath that light, her heart was full of grief. She was bringing a child into the world without the man she loved beside her. She was afraid, exhausted, still mourning, still surviving. Please watch over our daughter. Make sure she will be healthy and happy. And somehow, despite all that sorrow, I arrived safely. My mother named me Monica, the name my father had chosen before he died. She said it came from the word harmonica, his favorite instrument. Playing it helped him escape the horror he saw around him. Music was his refuge, and his story became mine. I never got to hear my father's voice in person, never held his hand, never sat beside him as his daughter, but I have carried him my entire life. In the courage he left behind, in the freedom he wanted for me, in the example of a man who gave even when he had almost nothing. His death broke something in my family, but his love built something in me. My father fought for a future he would never get to see, and I became part of that future. Even though I never met him, my father has always been my hero. For every child shaped by loss but not destroyed by it, if this story speaks to you, subscribe and walk with me one memory at a time.